All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to break down a concept that basically kicked off the whole big data revolution. It's a beautifully simple model that lets us process information on a scale that, honestly, was once unimaginable.
So, let's start with a problem you've probably thought about. You're a wizard with relational databases. You know your SQL inside and out. But what happens when your data gets, well, huge? We're talking terabytes, petabytes, way too big for just one server.
Right? That's the moment you realize you need a totally new playbook. You can't just scale up one machine forever. Instead of trying to bring all that data to your one computer, you've got to figure out how to bring your computer code to the data, spreading the work out across a whole fleet of machines.
And that's where MapReduce comes in. Let's get into what it is and how it solves this massive data problem.
Okay, so what is MapReduce? Well, think of it like this. It's a programming model, kind of like a recipe, for taking a gigantic job, chopping it up into a bunch of tiny pieces, and then having a whole cluster of computers work on those pieces all at the same time. The real magic is that the framework handles all the complicated coordination for you.
The whole process breaks down into three main stages. You've got the mapper function, then a collect and group step in the middle, and finally a reducer function. The only parts you actually have to worry about are writing the code for the mapper and the reducer.
Okay, first up is the mapper. This is one of the two pieces of code you actually write. Its job is pretty simple, really. It goes through every single bit of your data and basically slaps a label on it. It turns each piece of data into what we call a key-value pair.
And then there's the other piece of code you write, the reducer. If the mapper is about breaking things down and labeling them, the reducer is all about bringing them back together. It takes all the items with the same label, the same key, and combines them into one final answer.
Okay, I know this sounds a bit abstract, so let's make it super concrete with the classic hello world of MapReduce, counting words. So let's say our input data is just this simple sentence. Now imagine this sentence is just one out of billions in a massive library. Our job is to count every single word.
Here's what the mapper does. It goes through the sentence, word by word. For data, it spits out a pair. The word data is the key, and the number 1 is the value. It does the same for science, for is, and then again for the second data and science. See? Every single word gets turned into its own key-value pair.
Now for the magic part, and this is something you don't even have to code. The framework itself takes over. It looks at all those pairs from all the different mappers running on different machines and starts grouping them. It says, hey, I've got 2 data keys. Let's put their values together in a list. Same for science. It's getting everything organized for that final step. And boom, here's the final act. The reducer gets the key data and its list of values, which is 1, 1. It just sums them up. 2. It gets science and its list. 1, 1. Sums it. 2. And is just has a single 1, so the answer is 1. And just like that, we've counted our words in a completely distributed way.
But here's the thing, and this is really important. MapReduce is so much more than just a word counter. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
This is what makes the model so powerful. Look at this. Your reducer function, the part that just adds up the ones, can stay exactly the same. But by just changing the logic in your mapper, you can answer totally different questions. Instead of mapping words, what if you mapped social media posts to the day of the week they were made? Suddenly, you're not counting words, you're finding out which day is the most active. The logic is all in the map. And it goes way beyond just counting things. The model can handle some really heavy-duty math, like multiplying gigantic matrices that are mostly empty.
Yeah, so think about it. If you have a massive matrix, but most of the entries are 0, it's a huge waste of space to store all those zeros, right? So instead, we can represent it sparsely. We only list the coordinates and values that aren't 0. And this format, it's absolutely perfect as an input for a MapReduce job.
So let's pull back for a second. Why was this model so influential? What makes this simple idea work so well? It really comes down to these core ideas. It gives you parallelism for free. The model itself is shockingly simple. You just write a mapper and a reducer. It's built to scale to insane amounts of data. And, super important, it can handle it when machines in your cluster fail without the whole job crashing. The framework takes care of all that messy stuff, so you can just focus on your logic.
You know, MapReduce really laid the groundwork for almost all the modern big data tools we have today. Things like Hadoop and Spark. It fundamentally changed how we think about computation at scale. Which really makes you wonder, what are the next core principles that are going to power the future of data processing?
Hey, thanks so much for watching.
If this helped you get your head around MapReduce, do us a favor and hit that like button, and maybe subscribe for more. It really helps us keep making explainers like this one.